most of the time, are so significantly noticeable. It's just amazing how Disney does this sort of stuff. And the TV series is actually focusing on the lives of both Liv and Maddie, who obviously have to deal with the complexity of being a teenager and dealing with different issues from episode to episode, which have a different theme conveyed for each one. And just the ratings for this show definitely speaks for itself, because this is a show that you wouldn't expect to be seeing as high of ratings as what it's gotten, grossing for Disney and getting a lot of attention. If you actually have subscribed to her Facebook fan page or are following Dove Cameron on Twitter, which is actually at Dove Cameron, you will notice the subscribers to her Facebook fan page and her followers on Twitter are up in the millions, and deservingly so. To say that Dove Cameron doesn't deserve to be in the position that she is in, definitely once again we'll be jumping to a conclusion and just throwing criticism the way of Dove Cameron, unnecessary criticism which she does not need at this point in time in her life, because you take into consideration how popular stars like Roland Blanchard and Sabrina Carpenter have gotten because of Girl Meets World, and of course obviously Ben Savage and Danielle Fisher helping out with that series. I mean, it takes a lot to really compete with a show like Girl Meets World, especially with the popularity of it. And I think that Dove Cameron is really firing back not only at Girl Meets World, but other Disney Channel shows like Bunked and many others in the same category as a direct competitor for some of the top Disney Channel shows that are out right now. I mean, you have all of these comically reprieving shows like Dom with a Blog and Girl Meets World all the time, always on top. But then you have a show like Liv and Maddie, which comes from out of nowhere and just gets the huge response that it's gotten. And I think that credit is definitely deserved where credit is due, because of just how popular this series is and how much more popular it's getting in time. I think this is not the only Disney Channel show or TV series we're going to see Dove Cameron in the way of a project in the coming years, because I think that Liv and Maddie is just the start of her scratching mere surface of her fullest potential and realizing what that fullest potential is, just based off the raving reviews the show is getting from columnists, different people filing in reports and comments on this series, always tweeting back at Dove Cameron, posting something on her Facebook wall, keeping us in this informative loop of information and detail on her career and what are some of the things she's got coming up. I think it's going to be an exciting and fun time to be a fan of Disney Channel and all the projects they have going on. If you aren't already a fan of Disney Channel, I almost instantly became a fan of this new generation of Disney after having been a fan of shows like Wizards and Hannah Montana for years back in 2004, from 2004 up until at least 2010, and I almost instantly became a fan of this new generation of Disney Channel shows once I found out what the details of them were. It's just amazing. Disney has definitely come a long way with the detail that's been put behind these shows, just how much work ethic has been exemplified and demonstrated for these shows. I mean, we've come a long way from a show focusing on a girl playing both the roles of Miley Stewart and Hannah Montana, and a wizard who lives in Waverly Place in New York, played by Selena Gomez, Alex Russo. Of course, it was just amazing seeing those shows back then, but then you compare shows of today and this generation of shows like Hannah Montana and Wizards, and you say, God, Disney has definitely progressed, they've definitely advanced, and they've come a long way in 10 years. What a difference 10 years has made. And I know I use that phrase a lot on this YouTube channel at Jonathan Clarke 22 when posting a video blog and compiling my thoughts on some critical issue, either in the world of entertainment or wrestling. But the thing is, what a difference 10 years has made. And I think that same saying can apply to what's happened with Disney. I mean, we've come a long way from shows like Hannah Montana and Wizards all the way to shows that focus on talking dogs, Double Lives of Liv and Maddie. I mean, both characters being played by one Disney Channel star on that show. Girl Meets World, the spinoff of Boy Meets World. I mean, look how much far advanced Disney has become, and all the great reviews that fans are giving these shows because of how far Disney's come in a significant period of time. Not a long period of time, but a very significant period of time. And I think that's why more promising futures can be guaranteed, if in fact I can go that far, for people like Dove Cameron, who you wouldn't have expected to see go this far with Disney. And just the professionalism promoting everything for Disney that she does for media interviews on shows like Michael and Kelly in the Morning, the Today Show. She's always there to promote something for Disney, and she's so mature when doing these interviews. And I can say the same thing about people like Olivia Holt for shows like I Didn't Do It, which is already in its second or third season on Disney Channel. I mean, they're so mature, they're so friendly in front of the media, in front of the camera when doing these interviews, obviously in an effort to promote what Disney Channel has got going on for it in both the U.S. and Canada. And I think definitely credit is deserved where credit is deserved and due for some of these Disney Channel stars who are still considered minors but are climbing the proverbial ladder of success more and more all the time, and just merely scratching the surface of what their fullest potential actually is, because I don't even think they themselves have realized their fullest potential, and if they have, that's just a scary thought, because they have a lot of potential, and if they haven't even realized the potential, or have realized the potential rather, of what they can do, I mean, just imagine if they channel that and what kind of things we would see coming from them for the future of their careers as actors and actresses. Is just amazing, seeing the different diversity that we're seeing exemplified for these Disney Channel stars. I mean, back in the day in 2004, 2005, every Disney Channel star seemed the same, did they not? Either if you're talking about Miley Cyrus or Selena Gomez, they had a little bit of different spunk, which separated them into different categories. Like, for instance, Miley Cyrus and Emily Osment were very different, diverse talents and very different personalities. And Selena Gomez could say the same thing. But the thing was, every Disney Channel show and different concepts seemed the same. Even though they seemed similar or different in a lot of ways, they were all the same pretty much. But these Disney Channel shows and these Disney Channel stars 10 years later are all different. Every Disney Channel show has a different entrance, a different theme song, a different theme for the script that's written for the show. Like, you take, for instance, Girl Meets World, the spinoff of Boy Meets World. Yes, there are elements incorporated into the show Boy Meets World, of course, tying into this show very significantly with the original cast members of Boy Meets World making guest appearances on and off again. But it was something that fans of the original series expected, so you kind of had to tie in both aspects of Boy and Girl Meets World into one series, especially about 15 years after Boy Meets World finished up, which went over 7 or 8 seasons. Now, it is expected that this show will go 6 seasons to allow the kids to graduate from high school, which would be a very significant thing to have happen for this series because there's so much promise that's went with the roles of Roland Blanchard and Sabrina Carpenter. But the thing is, I think all these shows are very different. Regardless of the criticism, you could find time in throwing the way of show like Liv and Maddie or Girl Meets World because of just how popular they are, because of the stars, and just how the fans have accepted these shows as part of the new generation of Disney Channel. And can I get away with giving this series, Liv and Maddie, at least a 4 out of 5 star rating? A couple of weeks ago, actually, I gave it a 3 out of 5 star rating, but once I saw more episodes, got more detail on the series, I feel more confident in giving it at least a 4 out of 5 star rating on a 5 star scale potential rating scale, because of just how popular this star actually is, because her fan base is up in the millions, and I really appreciate how she's always updating her content on social media, because a lot of celebrities, especially Disney stars, don't tend to do that. They leave the promotion of their careers up to Disney themselves. When you have stars from Nickelodeon who are always given the responsibility and or distinction of promoting themselves throughout social media, which is why Nickelodeon has always had a decisive edge or advantage on these Disney Channel stars, while Disney is given the responsibility of promoting their stars on their own, and their stars are pretty much just given the responsibility of acting out different roles they are given and or responsibilities. Nickelodeon stars not only have the responsibility and a significant amount more pressure of promoting the show, but they also have a significant amount of pressure having to promote everything they have going on for their respective careers on their social media accounts and or references. But Disney promote themselves. They don't leave it up to the stars, which is why the stars pretty much don't update their content on social media, which is why I really appreciate that Dove Cameron is one of the few Disney Channel stars that actually takes time out and posts stuff on her Facebook wall or tweets something on her Twitter, which is something I can't thank her enough for having done. I'm also looking forward to seeing a release on DVD and Blu-ray of Descendants. For those of you that didn't get a chance to see Descendants, but again, who out there hasn't seen Descendants before? I saw the premiere of Descendants. I thought the script, I thought the detail of the show and what it focused on was great for a Disney Channel original movie, how it focused on descendants, people like King, Beast, and Queen Belle, and of course the Evil Queen and Cruella de Vil had their sons and daughters, of course, attend a high school of honors featuring Disney heroes. It was pretty amazing how they had to obtain a wand to avenge their losses to people like Aladdin and Snow White from their past endeavors from about 50 through 65 years ago. Really appreciated that, what the series did, what the show did, the movie did. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a release of this on DVD and Blu-ray, because it is a true exemplification of just how far Disney has come and just an illustration of what kind of generation of Disney Channel stars we are actually in. We've come a long way from 50th or 65th anniversary releases of DVD and Blu-rays of people like Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, these movies that were released years ago. So just as an illustration, if anything, of the generation that we have come into and just how different it is from a generation 10 years ago. Because 10 years ago, movies like Descendants or TV shows like the 7D probably would have never been released. Gravity Falls probably would have never been in the back of the mind of the Disney writers when you're talking about animation in the animation department for Disney. So we've seen a lot happen for Disney Channel, and the relaunching of Disney XD and Disney Junior, by the way, is awesome too, because we get this new Star Wars series. We get looks at some of the newer Disney concepts on Disney XD and Disney Junior now because of the relaunching back on December 1st. So there's a lot going on, and especially when you're talking about a star like Dove Cameron, who is writing new music all the time, putting out, of course, new TV shows all the time, and in new movie roles all the time, along with every other Disney Channel star that are in new movie roles, like Laura Morano, which recently appeared in Bad Hair Day, which was a great movie. There are a lot of great stuff happening for Disney, and if ever was a time to be a fan of what Disney's got going on, that time is now. So if you have a thought on things like Disney's Descendants or Liv and Maddie, you can get in on the conversation in the comments of this video at Jonathan Clarke 22 by tweeting it to me on Twitter at Jonathan Clarke 1, or by getting in on the conversation on my Facebook page or Google Plus fan page at HEW Entertainment, both names for both sites. And you can let me know what your thoughts are on things like Liv and Maddie and what kind of promising direction and or future you think that Dove Cameron is headed in or has over the next, dare I say, 4 or 5 years. It's going to be really interesting to see where Dove Cameron is, what kind of position she's going to find herself in 4 or 5 years from now, because there's no secret or no shame in me denying that I am a huge Dove Cameron fan, and I will continue to be that way, with this being my 4th video blog with probably more to come on Dove Cameron. And the funny thing was, about a year ago, I said this was the last time I was going to talk about Disney Channel or Nickelodeon stars, but with how much promise all these new stars have, this new generation, how can you stop talking about Disney Channel or Nickelodeon stars when they are so hot? They have more promise than what they had 10 years ago. I can't find time in doing it, which is why I'm going to continue to talk about people like Dove Cameron as long as they are relevant and they are still in the public eye and they are getting attention. And no doubt Dove Cameron is getting a lot of attention with millions of subscribers on her Facebook fan page and just as many million followers on Twitter. Her fan wagon definitely speaks for itself, and the raving reviews of Liv and Maddie, if you've read